Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews, and today to talk about some of my favorite horror film sequels of all time. And it's a top 10 list. There are bunches of movies out there that have sequels that I like, or horror movies that have sequels that I like. These are just 10 of them. These are my thoughts, my opinion. So these might not be everybody's favorite sequel, but they're just some of my favorite sequels. And yeah, let's get started with number 10, Wrong Turn 2, Dead End. This is the uncut version, and the forest. Only they can hear you scream. You got the back of it. And but Wrong Turn 2 Dead End, and it's a movie that I really enjoyed the first movie. It's a classic. I think it's a modern day classic. I really enjoyed the first movie. But the thing is the reason this is my favorite is because on Sci-Fi a while back, I had watched the Wrong Turn marathon, which back when that was happening, it only went up to part 3. And I watched the very, very end of the first movie, like a few minutes before the credits. So they're really the only thing I seen was the very end of them fighting the hillbillies, and the sequel ending with the one, I forgot his name. It's been a while since I've actually seen these movies. Actually, I think it's like Three Finger or something like that. I think it's Three Finger or something like that. But it's the one that laughs a lot, and you find that he's still alive, and he's also in this movie. And of course, you have that ending, and that's the ending I see. Like, that's pretty much what I see in the first movie. The very end of that scene where they fight the hillbillies, and the ending sequel scene, where it's saying, "Oh, there's going to be a sequel." And then I watched Wrong Turn 2. And I gotta say, watching it, I really enjoyed it. It's a fun film. I like the idea of the movie taking place during this TV show, The Apocalypse. And they got Henry Rollins sort of playing this sort of Rambo character, but still a very, very fun character. Even likable characters in this movie, decent acting, lots of gore, twisted moments, and the atmosphere was handled well with the woods. It was just, in my opinion, a very fun, entertaining, well-made sequel. So yeah, Wrong Turn 2, Dead End. Let me get that. And now I get to number 9. This is a sequel that is highly underrated, and for some reason this one gets lower rating of 3. And that is From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, starring Robert Patrick. Now, this sequel, of course, my favorite of the trilogy is still the first movie, but this is an awesome sequel. Definitely one of my favorite sequels of all time. It's action-packed, fun cast, great acting, solid characters, solid script, fun, very, very entertaining, really funny, and 3, like I said, 3 From Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter. I used to hate that film. I really did. I used to rant on that movie. I used to talk crap about that movie. But watching it now, I think it's pretty entertaining, pretty decent. It's alright. It's okay. I really don't hate that movie anymore. So you could say I really enjoyed all 3 movies. The first one being my favorite, but the second one being my favorite of the sequels. Now 3... It's entertaining, yeah, I have to say that. It's cheesy and it's cheap. I get that. There is some bad CGI. The acting's not that good. But I found that 3 was pretty entertaining for being, a lower budget movie. I still found some of the characters to be interesting. Some likable stuff to it. The atmosphere, the Wild West atmosphere, which everybody hates, I know. But I think it worked well for the movie. But yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn 2, I mean, From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money. If I decide between this though and 3 is still. I'm not gonna sit here and say that 3 is an amazing sequel at all, or 3 is an amazing movie. It's just a decent time waster, fun flick to watch. It's all right. That's sort of my thoughts on 3. It's all right. It's okay. But this sequel, I gotta say, this is a great sequel. It's underrated. It's like a 3 point something on IMDb. Like a 3 point something, really? Or at least it used to be a 3 point something. I don't know what it is now. I haven't checked in this movie for a while. But yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, very very fun sequel. Definitely, you guys, if you haven't seen the movie, check it out. Very very entertaining sequel. So yeah, that's number 9, From Dusk Till Dawn 2. And number 8 is a movie that I did franchise review on. Like, I did the series of reviews on these films in the past, but they got deleted. So I might re-review them, someday on this channel, or not this channel, but the new set of videos I'm doing. I might redo the reviews and re-review the movies. But it's Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou. Now, of course, this came with the first prom night, and of course some Halloween flicks. But of course, I got it for the prom night films. Now, I enjoyed the first prom night. I think it's a classic. It's definitely a little bit underrated. Prom Night 2, though, it's probably my favorite of the series. Like, the first one, still, it's a good movie. It's a classic, but, I really enjoyed the movie, but it's sort of like Wrong Turn. Like, how I explain Wrong Turn. Wrong Turn 1's a classic, but I just found the second movie just a little bit more entertaining, in my opinion. So, please don't hit me for saying that. And don't get me wrong, Prom Night, in my opinion, it is definitely a classic, but I just found 2 to be a little bit more fun, a little bit more creepy, a little bit more entertaining. But yeah, I still really enjoyed the first movie, but Prom Night 2 is my favorite of the series. And the reason is, I know it's a fun movie, I know it's meant to be fun, but there are actually some parts in it that can get pretty creepy, like, especially towards the end of the movie, because you realize Mary Lou, she does not care. She's a stone cold killer. She does not give a crap in this flick. She does not give a crap. She'll put you in a locker and smash the locker until your blood comes out of the locker. That's what happens in the movie, and you're just sitting there like, oh my gosh. She's just a ruthless, like, dark character in this film, Prom Night 2, which is supposed to be, I know, a comedy. That's not meant to be a comedy, like total comedy, but it's supposed to have a little bit of fun to it. But same time, it's the character Mary Lou's a stone cold killer. She does not give a crap. But yeah, it's got memorable scenes in the movie, fun film, quick pace. It's 97 minutes, but it goes by fast. It's fast paced, directed well, acted decently, atmosphere done well, practical effects. I just found it to be an entertaining sequel, Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou. Really enjoyed it. Of course, I'll have to probably rebuy the DVD because I lost it, but I just rebuy this DVD if I see it again. But yeah, Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou, great sequel. And number 7 is a sequel in a trilogy, which happens to be one of my favorite trilogies in the horror genre or slasher film genre. But yeah, like I said, a sequel to one of my favorite, sequel in one of my favorite horror film trilogies of all time, Hatchet 3. Of course, Adam Green didn't come back to direct this movie, but he still was involved. I think he was the screenplay writer, or he was a writer or producer or something. He was still involved with the movie. And if you're going to watch the Hatchet movies, be expecting a lot of gore, fun, campy humor, and expect a lot of, cameos by other horror film actors and actresses. Like, you'll see Tony Todd, you'll see Robert Englund, Kane Hodder, Danielle Harris, Caroline Williams. And in this movie, like I said, you got Caroline Williams, Danielle Harris returns in this movie. Although, this is my favorite sequel of the sequels. Like I said, the first movie. Again, the first movie is my favorite. The second movie is sort of, it used to be my favorite when I did my reviews on my older videos. I said that Hatchet 2 was my favorite. I sort of bounced back and forth between these two sequels, but right now it's Hatchet 3. And although one problem I gotta say though is Danielle Harris, she's in the movie, but she doesn't really do much in the movie. Especially, only till probably the end of the film is when she really starts to get involved in the plot and really starts to do stuff. And she goes after Victor Crowley and finally kills him. But besides that, I mean, she's mostly locked in a jail cell, so you really don't see her do much. As far as out in the swamp, trying to fight Victor Crowley or something like that. No, she's mostly in the jail cell, which that's kind of crappy. But okay. But still, good movie. Besides that problem, there's really no other problem that I have with the movie. It's a fun film. It's really quick in the pace. I mean, let's see how long it is. It's 81 minutes, so very, very fast film. So good pace, good acting, good directing. Especially because I think the director, B.J. McDonald, who was involved with the first movie, and he came to direct this movie, and I thought he did a good job. And yeah, so besides that, Daniel Harris not really getting to do much. Besides that, still really enjoyed the sequel, and right now it's my favorite sequel in the trilogy. And yeah, Hatchet 3. Next film is Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. This is part of the 2-pack with Hellraiser Bloodline. Sorry, I'm a little bit sick. Not like super sick, but I got a little bit of a stuffed nose, so you're gonna be hearing some sniffles and stuff like that. Like during this review, I apologize. I'm not like totally sick. I'm just sort of got a clogged nose. But Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. I know people were asking, well, why isn't Hellraiser 2 your favorite? I really enjoyed Hellraiser 2, and the first Hellraiser is a classic, but this is my favorite sequel, and it's because this movie, you have well, not this movie, that's pointing at Hellraiser 4. That's a good movie too, but Hellraiser 3, you have a very dark and gritty atmosphere to it. It was directed very well. Pinhead gets the most screen time in this movie. At least in my opinion, feels like he gets more screen time in this movie than he does in other movies. And which wasn't a problem in the first 2 movies because the first 2 movies are great. But as far as 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and a little bit of 9, because Doug Bradley didn't even come back to play Pinhead in 9. So, but I mean, still in that movie, you barely seen Pinhead as well. But especially from 5 through like 5, 6, 7, and 8, you didn't see a lot of Pinhead. Hellraiser 3 though, you see a lot of Pinhead. He got a lot of scenes in this movie, which is pretty cool. And you got the bar scene at the end of the movie, and the end of the movie just pretty much it's just pretty much the ending of this movie. The third act is awesome, amazing, great sequel. So really, wait to the third act. If you're still watching the sequel and you're like, I'm not getting into the sequel, wait to the third act. That third act was awesome, where Pinhead, finally comes back, and freaking in the bar and chains and people getting slaughtered and practical effects, and score was great, atmosphere was great, idea was great, and yeah, I really, really enjoyed Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. So yeah, that's Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. Next film is a sequel that probably a lot of people were not expecting, because it's probably one of the most hated sequels in the franchise. But I gotta say, I think this movie's very, very underrated. Really enjoyed this movie, and I had a lot of fun with the movie, and it's a fun film, fun sequel. It's a great time, entertaining, and I gotta say, I love this movie. It's an awesome sequel, in my opinion. That is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, which I know people are like, what? You like this better than 6, and 2, and 3, and 4? And I'm like, I mean, I think that 2, 3, and 4 are classics. 6 is still, in my opinion, a classic. But this movie, it's just very entertaining. And I know people automatically hate this movie because, well, Jason's not even in the film. Jason's not even in this movie. And like, I get that, but it's not really a problem because I like the idea of this character who snaps because his son died, and the character Roy. I should have said spoiler alert, but I mean I'm sure probably some people have seen part 5, part 5 in the beginning. So yeah, spoiler alert, you find out that there's this character in the movie named Roy who's the killer, and he goes and he kills people in this house, these teens, these troubled teens, or these halfway house with these teens in there, and he kills them. And just very interesting characters. It's a really, really funny movie. It's entertaining. It goes by at a fast pace. It was directed very well. Also, this DVD has some fun features to it, especially the commentary was fun, and the documentary, well, more featurette. And yeah, it's a fun DVD to get the deluxe edition. Has some features to it. It's a fun movie, and yeah, very, very underrated. But yeah, that's Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Really, really enjoyed that sequel. Now we get to Halloween 2, More of the Night He Came Home. Now, this used to be my favorite one in the franchise. I used to say it was my favorite one, but now watching it, I can still say it's a great sequel. Definitely my second favorite, but I mean, I have to agree with most people. I mean, the original Halloween was definitely a classic. One of the greatest horror films of all time. But yes, so I kind of changed my mind. I really enjoyed the first movie over this, but out of the sequels, this is my favorite. Out of the sequels, and that's why it's gone down to be one of my favorite sequels of all time. And it's because the idea of Laurie being in the hospital and him going in the hospital, the atmosphere of the hospital, some, good death scenes, practical effects, great acting, memorable characters, awesome soundtrack that they pretty much just did a great soundtrack. I mean, the beginning of the movie, dun, 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 but it sounds like really like synthesized and, really, really, really cool soundtrack to it. And, but yeah, Halloween 2, it's a great sequel. Awesome sequel. So yeah, Halloween 2, More of the Night He Came Home. And now we get to probably considered one of the movies in the series that is people's favorites, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. So yeah, not only is this my favorite sequel of all time, one of my favorite sequels of all time, it's my favorite of the series. Now I know people are like, well, what about the first movie? The first movie is a very, very close second favorite, and it's a great movie. It's a classic, but this is my favorite because it has so much classic stuff to it. I mean, the score was well done. The Dokken, soundtrack. We're the Dream Warriors, not gonna dream no more. We're the Dream Warriors, and maybe tonight you'll be gone. Awesome, awesome soundtrack by Dokken. But I'm back for the attack. And even the just the score, like, the besides the soundtrack, I mean, like the songs are great too, but even the soundtrack to like the creepiness, the scary, the suspense score to the movie really worked well, and it was done well, and this movie shot well. It was shot very well. Has a great atmosphere to it. The dreams have a certain look to them in this movie. Fun, very, very fun. Memorable lines of dialogue, memorable scenes. But yeah, my favorite sequel and my favorite movie in the series. So yeah, one of my favorite sequels of all time, and my favorite movie in the series. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. And we get to, this is a little bit of an underrated sequel. Not everybody likes this movie, but I really enjoyed it. Starring Dennis Hopper, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. The Buzz is back. Even wilder, gorier, and funnier than the original. Now, of course, the first one is my favorite horror film of all time. Um, and I knew, and Toby Hooper even knew that he couldn't top the first movie. So what he went off and did is he did a black comedy, and he made it very funny, and he put lots of gore in it, and he put memorable characters in it, and it has an interesting script, interesting ideas. Of course, it's that double-sided disc, which you flip once and it gets standard, screen, and you flip it again, I think it's like widescreen or something like that. I don't know. But this is it. I gotta get that other one they have. It's like, what's it called again? I can't remember. It's some special edition. It's the unrated version with more gore and more blood and more practical effects. It's the uncut version. Excuse me. And I can't remember what it's called, but it's some sort of DVD edition out there, and it has lots of features to it. So I might trade this DVD in to get that DVD someday if I find it. But for right now, this DVD, it's got no features besides the theatrical trailer, which that's it, really. It's got a cool main menu. You can say that is a really cool main menu. The design of the main menu is pretty cool. But yeah, definitely gonna pick up the special edition one day of this movie, the uncut version. But yeah, that's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Yeah, great sequel. And now we get to number 10. This is a amazing sequel. George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, which I did a review for my Zombie Week reviews. And like I said, Dawn of the Dead, I mean, it's a classic. I mean, it's Dawn of the Dead. Some people consider it to be the greatest zombie movie of all time. I can't really think of a greatest zombie movie of all time, but I have a greatest probably zombie movie of all time list. So maybe someday I'll do a list of that. Maybe someday down the road I'll do a list of my top 10 favorite zombie movies of all time. But this is definitely one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. And yeah, I mean, Roger Ebert gave it 4 stars and said it's superb. Definitely agree with that review. I agree. And yeah, so thanks for watching my video, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.